What is up, guys? Welcome to This is Boston Baseball Podcast, episode 14, with the one and only, the legendary Rick DeAngelis, manager of the Lexington Blue Sox in the Intercity Baseball League. We will bring him in shortly. He's been managing the Lexington Blue Sox for 30 years. They're about to go in their 31st year. He's managed, I think he told me, about 1,200 different players, a lot of them who have gone on to play in the MLB. He's got lots of stories, lots of baseball to talk about. But before we bring him in, allow me to introduce my co-host, Mr. Omar Ortiz. What's up, buddy? Well, let me unmute you. How was that? I always forget that very important step.
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you kindly.
How was your family party?
Hey, it was a good day, a long day. But I got people fucking
You
sending
guys
me.
had practice today too, or tryouts?
We had trials, we had practice. It's been a long day. I don't really got a lot of days off, so I apologize if I am late.
And now we're doing a podcast.
But we're here now, and we're
We're here
excited. We
now.
got a great show.
Yes, I'm very excited for our guest. Very well known around Boston baseball. You know, you mentioned the name Rick DeAngelis. People seem to know who he is right away. I mean, he's been managing the Blue Sox team for, God, I couldn't even imagine managing a team for 31 years.
Yeah, that's
Lexington
crazy.
Blue Sox. I thought they had 16 championships, but he corrected me. There's actually 17, including
17, okay.
a tournament
Oh,
that they played in, and I'm sure he'll talk about that. Um,
so is those 17, you said, is one is the tournament, or they got multiple in another tournament?
so they have 16 like regular season championships, but then there was like a
Okay.
tournament that they did. He'll be able to explain it. So he told me it's actually 17 championships
But
now.
for the Intercity League, it's 16.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
So do they have like the most championships of all Boston baseball amateur leagues?
I mean, you would think so, but last time I said that, I got a lot of shit from the Alabrandice in the Yawkey League because I know they got a whole bunch of championships under
Yeah.
their belt as well. So, I mean, I would
I
think,
don't think they got 16
yeah,
though.
16 is pretty hard to beat.
16 is a big number.
That's a lot, and they've been around since 1995. They're going to the 31st year, so they've literally won half championships as they've been in the
Yeah.
league. That's
Then
insane.
that's not easy, man.
It's not. It's not.
That's not easy at
Now
all.
he's had some
So
good teams over the year. I've played with guys like Josue. I'm sure there's been a couple of others. We were talking about Josue earlier. He moved to Florida, so he retired from the Blue Sox this past year.
Josue moved to Florida?
Yes, he did.
Oh wow.
Apparently, Rick helped him buy a new home there. Um, but yeah, there was a video of
Can Rick
him.
help me buy a house?
I'm sure he could
Come on,
probably help.
brother.
He seems to be involved in a little bit of everything. When I was talking to him earlier, I'm sure he could help. Um,
Yeah, I would love if he could help me buy a new house. Let's do it, brother.
but you and I are both managers, different
Yeah.
leagues. Could you imagine managing a team for 31 years?
Me personally, I could see myself doing it. Now that I'm getting older, and I like, I like, I like to give people opportunities to play baseball. And for me, is there's nothing better sports wise watching people play the game and watching good baseball. You know what I mean? Like we were just talking about this earlier at one of our trials today, and they were like, "Oh, Mark, you're still playing the CHBL? The CHBL is top notch competition. You got pitchers throwing 90, 91, 92, 93, and I told them straight up, I don't want to face that no more. I don't. I don't think you do either. But if if I have to experience it at the age of 43 and compete against these guys and because it gets you going, like if you're facing these young kids that could be your son, you feel me, and these kids like now this generation has great talent. These generation like are advanced, and I feel like I have no part in being competing against these guys, but do I can I still compete against them? Yes. But I feel like what they bring to the table now, the way the game is played now, these kids are far more advanced than what we were coming up.
Something in the water.
I don't know. No, it's not something in the water, Dan. It's just the generation just keeps going, and now these kids have watched what's happened. Every generation gets better, no matter. One of my buddies sent me Babe Ruth's video of him hitting a home run, and they were sending me messages. Oh, if Big Papi played in that era, if Manny Ramirez, if Albert Pujols, all these guys played in that era, they might have hit 70, 80, 90 home runs. And if you put Barry Bonds in that area, Barry Bonds might hit you 200 home runs. But I feel like the game evolves. I feel like it's good to watch these kids developing and how these kids now approach the game and how athletic they are, how great baseball players they are. One thing I want to talk to Rick, sorry, is are these new generations, do they have the mentality we had coming up?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we separate from this generation. Like the great players that I've always played against, no matter what age they were always ahead of the game. Not athletic wise, but mentally wise.
Yeah. And I mean, there's no one better to know that than someone who's been managing these younger guys for 3-4 decades. I know we ran a little late. Should we bring him in? We don't.
Yeah, just bring him
want to
in
make
right
him
away.
in
Let's do it.
any longer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Rick DeAngelis, the legendary coach. Welcome to the show. Thanks for wearing your sunglasses. I mean,
There he is.
awesome.
You're welcome.
As I told you, Orazio, Rob Zorian, they refused to wear the sunglasses, so we really appreciate it. It just shows how cool of a guy you really are.
In tune with reality, I guess.
Hey, we
Not-
gotta adapt we have to adapt to the new generation.
True.
So not that people don't know who you are, but if you could please introduce yourself to those who may not know you. Not that
All
there's
right.
many.
I'll try and be brief. I'm Rick DeAngelis. I grew up and played baseball in Revere. I've lived in Lexington for 48 years. I played high school baseball at St. John's Prep along with football. I played baseball at Holy Cross and was drafted 1,000 years ago by the Oakland A's. Didn't sign, went to law school. There's not a lot of money in baseball back in the dark ages, but I always had a love of the game. And how I got involved in all of this, one of the questions you asked me to think about was, how did we start? We've been around since 1995, and we're starting our 31st season, and I'll explain that in a second to you. What was the inspiration? Well, the inspiration was my own playing career in a way. I was 17 years old, a junior at St. John's Prep. I was offered a tryout by the Reading Town team, which is a veteran team of former college players, former pros, including Medford's own Tom Mandel, who played in the Cubs system. He played there, and he played in Medford for the Medford Mustangs, and a lot of other great players. And that's where I really learned how to play the game. I watched, young guys had to be seen but not heard, at least in the era that I played in. You watched, you learned literally and figuratively how to put on the uniform and carry yourself and conduct yourself. And the town that I played in, the town of Reading, was a great sports town, great hockey town, great baseball town. They had great players: Bill Kelly, Mike Jackson, Tom Kelly. The list goes on and on and on about what Reading baseball in particular was. Peter Muscarillo, who you probably know, was the legendary Reading high school baseball coach for years and years. But more importantly, the fans came out. This was town team baseball back in the day. This is in the mid '60s, by the way. We're talking, and I took something away from it. I learned really how to play the game. Young guys, older guys together. Young guys learn from the older guys. The older guys mentored the young guys. The young guys energized the older guys. And if you ask me what the model is that I use today, it's that very same model. So I played there for 3 years. We won a championship in the Intercity League. I really learned the game. In the ins and outs and how to put the toughness involved, the mental toughness, the mental acuity that Omar is talking about. You learn. I mean, I can tell you, Dan and I were talking off camera. Don McGillicuddy was a great Reading player, and he happened to be playing for a team from Wilmington. We played Wilmington one night at Reading's field, Washington Street Playground. And I was the first baseman, as was Don McGillicuddy. I learned to slap a tag on a guy's foot and slap it hard, and he wouldn't take as big a lead. Well, McGillicuddy was the runner one night, and I slapped the tag on him, and he growled something at me. We picked him off again. We slapped on him, and he pushed me. I pushed him back, and we got into it. And cooler heads prevailed. And long story short, after the game, he came up to me and said to me in a gruff voice, he said, "Kid, I was trying to intimidate you. I want to see what you were made of, see if you back down. But you didn't back down. And that's good. You're going to be a player." I don't know how much he knew, but in any event, that's what it was like. You couldn't back down. You had to learn the game. You had to play it within the way it was played at the time. So I went from there through to my college career at Holy Cross. Played in the Cape League 2 summers, and then came back to the Intercity League. And played shortly. Then my legal career and life got in the way, and here we are. And in 1995, I decided it was time. Lexington used to have an Intercity League team. They hadn't had one in quite some time, and something I always wanted to do. And I wanted to combine the best of my own experiences, town team baseball in the Intercity League, with what I learned in the Cape League from playing with people all over the country. And that's how we combined a program, program that we call the Lexington Blue Sox Brotherhood.
And this is, and I want to make sure you understand how grateful we are to have you on our show. You're a legend in Boston baseball. I've heard a lot about you. I've never met you, and I've heard everything you've done for your organization, and I think you deserve all the flowers in the world because you are what Boston baseball should be. You've won championships, you competed. I've heard you're a great person, and I've heard you always give back to your organization, and I want to thank you for being on our show. We want to learn from you. We want to understand what made you do what you're doing now, because from what we know, you're successful outside of baseball. So you don't have to do what you do, and we want to learn from you because we know that the game of baseball is not the same when we grew up, and we want to figure out. It's what? I'm sorry.
It's not the same when I grew up either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, sir. All of us, it's not the same, and we want to figure out what can we figure out together to make this game great again, because this is the best game in the world. You can put a basketball player in a field, unless it's Michael Jordan, they're not gonna be successful. You can put a baseball player in a basketball court, they're gonna figure it out.
Well, yes, baseball's a humbling game. It's a game of minimizing failures.
Yeah.
If you go to bat 3 times and you get 1 hit, 1 out of 3 is pretty good in baseball. It's not so great in the NBA. It's not so great if you're a quarterback playing in the NFL. A 33% passing percentage, completion percentage is not what's going to get you to the NFL Hall of Fame. But in baseball, it might. But, before we get too far in the weeds here about baseball and what it is we've done, I'd like to briefly talk about we. I've never been an I guy. I'm not an I, me, my guy. I'm a we guy. And there's a bunch of we's out here. And by that, I mean people who have made this program together successful. And among them are certainly the players. You can't do this without players and willing to commit themselves and dedicate themselves. And you can't do it without a coaching staff and a front office staff, and two or three people in particular. Matt Karras pitched here for 13 years. He was an elite pitcher. He's now the head baseball coach at Tabor Academy in Mattapoisett, and he is our player personnel director. He was the pitching coach when he was active. It's kind of a tough commute from Mattapoisett to Lexington every night.
Yeah.
He is still the player personnel director, and he, along with Pat McGowan, who is an elite pitcher, a fellow Holy Cross alum like me, and a coach himself. He coaches at Tufts University. Together, these guys are responsible for bringing a lot of players into the Blue Sox program. This is not, if it were me saying it's all about me, then you should hang up on me, because that's not true. That's not who I am. That's not who we are. We really are a brotherhood. And you look at our players. Everybody brings players. If you have a good organization, players want to come with their brethren. And we have Manny Del Carmen, whom I'm sure you guys know. Manny.
Yeah.
Dan asked me how many guys from pro baseball. Well, Manny came back from pro baseball, as did Ryan O'Rourke, and they played together for a couple of years. And can you imagine a pitching staff with Manny Del Carmen and Ryan O'Rourke, two ex-big leaguers?
Yeah.
Successful big leaguers to boot. And beyond that, we've had Ryan Hannigan, who caught 15 years in the big leagues for the Reds, the Rays, the Red Sox. We had him for a couple of years when he was a young college kid. Chris Shaw, a Lexington product, was a first rounder with the Giants, got a nice bonus to sign, made it to the big leagues, and now he's back. He finished his Boston College academic career, and he's out in the business world. And then there's the combination of Superman, Mighty Mouse, Batman's, and all that's good in the world. Sal Frelick. Sal Frelick played here when he was at Lexington High School, and he was an elite player. But beyond those guys, Pete Frates played here. Pete Frates, I don't know that Pete needs any introduction. He was probably the greatest human being any of us in Blue Sox land ever came across. He was a consummate gentleman, a consummate teammate, a consummate athlete, a great competitor, a leader, a mentor, and he's missed. But we still talk about what model and what methods Pete utilized and what he stood for, and that's how this brotherhood really got rolling.
What's been like your secret to bringing these guys into your organization? I know you've been doing it for a long time. I'm sure they know your name and your team, but how are you able to get these guys to come back and play for you?
Well, it depends on who we're talking about, but it's the same methodology applies. You have to relate to the player. Nobody wants to know about back in my day we did this like this, and we did this, and we did that, and we did it differently. It's all about now. And so, I mean, I believe I've adapted fairly successfully to the modern player. You have to put yourself in their shoes. Young kids, for example. We have now more high school players. I never thought we would have high school players. But I will tell you, last summer, we had at least 5 high school players start different games. And I'll mention 2 or 3 of them because they're playing college baseball now. We had a center fielder who's 6'4", 205 pounds, Nick Anderson from Framingham and Belmont Hill. He's now at Holy Cross.
Nice
hitter. Great player, great future. Off the charts talent. Charlie Walsh is a Lexington kid who also went to Belmont Hill. He's now playing second base. He played shortstop here last summer. He's now playing second base for George Washington University. They beat my Holy Cross 3 out of 4 this weekend. But Rick DeAngelis got on the text message and congratulated Charlie. And I said, Charlie, you know that I am a proud Holy Cross baseball alum, but I root for Blue Sox players. So your success trumps my allegiance.
So,
At least
so Blue Sox.
No favoritism.
No favoritism, right? Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier with
Never loved them, and
something in the
we've
water.
had a catch. We started a high school catcher. We started a center fielder. We started a left fielder. We started a second baseman, and at times we started a right fielder. All of whom were high school kids, but we combined them with good veteran players. We mixed the veterans and the young guys. You all know Josue Feliciano. Josue played here for 10 years, among other places that he's played. And he was a teacher and a leader. Ryan O'Rourke is a teacher and a leader. Matt Karras and Pat McGowan are teachers and leaders. And before them, Stephen Gath and Tommy Haw and Pete Frates himself. They've all been leaders. And if I missed anybody, and I could probably list 500 people who have been instrumental leaders and mentors to the younger players. But to watch Sal Frelick develop. Sal Frelick was the third of 3 Lexington high school quarterbacks who played here at the same time. Football quarterbacks. Frelick followed Jeff Costello, who played at Northeastern, who's now playing professionally in Australia. And the two of them followed Ross Curley, who was a Lexington high school baseball, basketball, football player who played third base and shortstop here for 13 years. And I suspect he's listening in tonight from Indiana, where he now lives. We actually had lunch 2 weeks ago in Naples, Florida, when he was there for a vacation, and I was there for a few days myself. But people don't go very far because the internet has such strength and power. You can communicate with anybody, anytime, almost anywhere. And I love to communicate with these guys. Some may say it's a fantasy. It takes you out of the real world. But in some respects, it is the real world that I'm involved in, that I want to be involved in, and that is baseball.
So, when you started the team back in 1995, did you ever first imagine that you'd be doing it, coaching for as long as you have, but also have had the success that you guys have had?
Well, when I started, I always wanted to go to the playoffs. And I thought winning one championship, since as a player I was fortunate enough to be on one championship team in 1966 with the Reading Town team. I thought if we won a championship, wouldn't that be great? One championship. I was happy with one. But you know what happens on the way to one?
You got to get 2.
You want another one.
You got to get 2.
Yeah, then you got to get 3.
3 or 4. Yes,
4. And then when Pete Frates played and David Ahern, who tragically passed away during a championship season, we realized that time was fleeting and precious, and we wanted to 6-peat. A 6-peat would be 3 Pete Frates times 2. So that was our little secret to ourselves, and we accomplished that. And but in the beginning, one championship would have been icing on the cake. It was.
So you guys got at one point got 6 in a row?
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
And to take it even further, there has not been a year in all 31 years, 30 or 31, depending on how you want to characterize them. We have always gone to the playoffs. We went to the finals 16 or 17 straight years.
How many?
16 or 17 straight years.
One more time.
16 or 17 straight finals.
My brother, because people need to understand how much of a powerhouse you guys are. That's why I keep asking, because it's not easy getting to a championship, you know, and then you guys have done it over and over and over again, you know, and I've never played in Intercity League. I've heard about you guys, but I know players that have played for you, and they've always been loyal to you and your organization. But you guys have always, like, been the mecca of what amateur baseball should be.
Well, you're kind to say that, Omar.
No, I'm being real.
It's due to the players. All right. I'm the guy
Okay.
who brings the balls and the bats
Yeah.
and says, "Here, you need a bat?
Yeah.
You need a ball to warm up with?" I used to throw all the BP every night until I had rotator cuff and bicep reattachment surgery. Now I can't throw anymore. It's a real bummer, I got to tell you.
Yeah.
It's crazy what
But
they're
there are
doing
other
in
ways
baseball.
to impact in a positive way players, and I love the interaction with the younger players in particular. And look, everybody has their moments, as we
Yeah.
all know. I mean, we've all
Yeah.
been ball players, and there are highs and there are lows. If I've one story I like to tell people is, look, this is a hard game.
It's a hard game.
Very
Very hard game. Very hard.
particularly the young players say, if I ever told you that I never ever struck out 3 times in a game, I'd be lying through my teeth. I have. And the last time it happened, is a long time ago. And I can tell you the guy who did it. I can tell you how he got me out. And I can tell you how I felt. And to put some color to it, his name was Joe LaSorsa, a right-handed fireball who had a great slider. But he climbed the ladder. I was a left-handed hitter. I switch hitter, but I think left-handed against the right-handed LaSorsa. And he just climbed the ladder on me, and I bit 3 times. But
Yeah.
you know what? I had to get up the next day and get on a bus with my teammates at Holy Cross and go up to Dartmouth to play a doubleheader. I could have said, "Woe is me! What's wrong with me?" Boo hoo hoo hoo, and cried my way all the way up to Hanover, New Hampshire. But I figured it out, and I went 6 for 8 in the doubleheader. You know, you pick yourself up off the ground, and that's what I tell my players. All right, the next at bat, the next game. It's
Yeah.
not yesterday. It's not the last pitch. It's the next pitch, the next play, whatever.
It's right now.
Yeah, it's the here and now.
Yes. Yes. Go.
So
It
Matt,
makes sense now. It makes sense now.
So Matt Justin says it's all due to you, not the players. It's all due to you. You bring
Who's
us all
saying that?
together.
Justin?
Matthew Justin, yes.
Oh, that's Matthew. That's Matt Karras.
Yeah,
Well,
I figured that was his middle name.
He and I don't often disagree, but I believe it's the players and our incredible staff, of which he is one hugely important guy.
Yeah.
We don't play as well as we do without Matt Karras. You know, so let me tell you what the competitor Matt Karras is all about. Now that he brought it up, usually I send the pitching coach out to talk to the pitchers. Right? What does that hitter know about pitchers other than he likes to hit them?
Yeah.
But when Karras pitched, I had to go out and talk to him. And he was the king of his domain. He did not enter the circle.
Most pitches are. Most pitches are.
Yeah, you didn't enter the
Oh,
circle.
we
without
good.
an
Special
invitation.
breed.
And as soon as I crossed the white line, I heard, "What the F do you want?" And I said, "What the F do you care? You're not going to listen anyway." So he walks to the back of the mound, and says back to me. And then he said, I'm standing there, and he says, "Are you done yet?" And I say, "Yes, I am." So he says, "Why don't you kindly leave then?"
Wow.
I said, "I will.
Wow.
But I want to let you know that I managed to accomplish my mission." And he says, "Well, and what might that have been?" And that is to slow you down. There's no magic to some of this. You know, you go out and you slow your pitcher down, and he gets back on track. But Matt Karras is the ultimate competitor, and that's why you win with Matt Karras and Pat McGowan and Ryan O'Rourke and Manny Del Carmen and Paul Bibbo and Mike Kotarski back in 1998. David Connolly, the great left-handed pitcher from Boston College. Also in 1998, Peter Ferrari. Peter Ferrari and I. Peter is a Lexington guy. He pitched at the University of Massachusetts. He's now a very successful entrepreneur in the business world. And we put the very first Blue Sox teams together. And without these guys, look, could we have done what we did? Maybe. Who knows? But let me tell you what. Without these guys, it would have been a real struggle.
My brother, what keeps you going? And because you've been doing this for a long time, and I've been coaching maybe in the amateur baseball world 15 years. This is your 30th year. What keeps you going, and what keeps you motivated every year? And
because every generation changes. This generation, and from my experience, is not the same. What I came, how I came up. What keeps you going? How do you adapt to what's going on and how the new generation is today?
Well, it's an interesting question. And I'm going to give you an answer which at first blush might sound like a cliche. For love of the game. I love the game of baseball.
I love that answer.
I absolutely love the game of baseball. I love the interaction of players. I love the interaction with players. I love the interaction with other teams. I like the competition. I'm a competitive guy. I compete. I actually sat at Fenway South today with Gus Quattlebaum. Gus is the director of pro scouting for the Red Sox and a former Blue Sox player. And we were talking about just what you're talking about tonight, Omar and Dan. Modern player and changing mores and changing attitudes. Is it all about me? Is it all about me? And we came around to the conclusion. I said to Gus, look at the uniforms we have on now. I had a pair of shorts on. I'm dressed like I am now. I have a golf shirt and a pair of shorts and a pair of FootJoy sneaker golf shoes. That's a shout out to my brother-in-law, Larry Bellarado Jr., because he's the Titleist FootJoy rep. In any case, and Gus was dressed very similarly. I said, look at the uniforms one we have now. And the uniforms have changed from what those guys out there are wearing, the Red Sox, to what we're wearing. But the competitor in each of us hasn't left. And no matter what you do in life beyond baseball or in addition to baseball, in some fashion or another, you have to compete every day in life, in the workplace.
All day.
Yeah. And to me, it's as simple as that. I love the competition. And I love the players. I love interacting with them. I love mentoring them. If I can help you with whatever it is that's going on in your life,
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the calling here.
Omar, just a technical thing. Looks like your camera's frozen. You might want to rejoin. I'm not sure what happened.
Okay, I'll fix it. I'm sorry.
No, not your fault. So I wanted to show this picture. I was having trouble uploading it, but because we were talking about the players, we mentioned Josue, but this is a picture of Josue in his last game with the Blue Sox. I found that on your Twitter page. I thought that was a pretty special moment.
Very emotional.
Yes, I'm sure. He played with the team for 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was a teammate of mine. So I'm sure. Like you said, that was a pretty.
He was a leader.
Emotional.
He still is. I talk to him regularly.
Yeah.
They don't go very far because the internet doesn't let them get very far away.
Yep.
We've really tried hard to create, and I think we've succeeded in creating what we call a Blue Sox brotherhood. We all, not just me, we all are there for one another. It may sound corny, but it's real. It's genuine. It's real. It's substance. It doesn't necessarily relate to just baseball. It relates to life. It relates to the workplace, contacts, references, you name it. We had a guy here once, Mike Healy. Mike came to the Blue Sox because his uncle used to take him. He told me he said, Rick, when I was young, my uncle used to take me to Blue Sox games. He saw a schedule somewhere, and he liked the baseball, and he thought I would like it. And he asked me if he could have a tryout. And I said, sure. So he came the next spring and tried out. And Mike, by his own admission, would tell you he was not the greatest player ever invented. But Mike was a wonderful, terrific human being. And when it came time to hand out uniforms, I gave him a bag full of catcher's equipment. And I said, "Hey, Mike, you're going to wear number 33. How would you like to learn to be the catcher, be a bullpen catcher, start there and see where it goes?" And he was thrilled. I frankly didn't have the heart to tell him there's no uniform for you. So he got a uniform. And because he deserved a uniform, because he brought something to the table. And years later, Mike stayed here for 10 or 12 years. I've gone to his wedding. I see him regularly. He's done some coaching for us. And he applied to law school, to Boston College Law School. Asked me if I would write him a recommendation. And I said, sure, I'd be happy to. He said, I'm sure it's going to be difficult. I said, no, it's not going to be difficult. It's going to be very easy. He said, why? Because you went to Boston College Law School? I said, no, that's not the reason. I said, you're a great success story. You came here, you knew nobody. In the beginning, you stood off to the side. You spoke when you were spoken to. You didn't. You were trying to feel your way around, but you did. You felt your way around. You learned your way around. You developed friendships, teammates, relationships, and you became a valuable player. And that's the kind of thing that people want to see when you're recommending a person for a school or a career position or anything in between. And Mike got into Boston College Law School and is now a successful lawyer. He didn't get into BC Law School because Rick recommended him. He got into BC Law School because he deserved to be there.
Although I'm sure it helped.
We have lots and lots of stories like that.
So, what is it that you look for in a particular player when deciding whether or not to bring them into the Blue Sox?
Well, obviously, you got to fill a need, and then you look to the character of the player, the talent, and the willingness to be part of a team. Everybody wants to develop their skills. I mean, a lot of people come and say, how many innings am I going to be guaranteed if I'm a pitcher? Or how many at-bats am I going to – I need 60 at-bats this summer. And those are usually the people that you really have a hard time accommodating. So here's what happens. If I'm looking for a center fielder, you know, I tell a ball player, for example, that you're gonna start, and what you do with it is totally up to you. You want 60 at bats, earn them, and a lot of them accept the challenge. I mean, in that respect, they're not different than they were when people like me had to try out. I'll guarantee a kid a spot, but what he does with it is totally up to him.
100%. So my brother. So I know you coach a lot of great teams. You guys have my opinion. You guys have the most championships in Boston baseball, amateur baseball. You guys have the most championships. Who is the best player you ever coached, skill wise, coaching wise, and stuff like that?
That is a very difficult question.
You've coached a lot of players.
Picking one of 1,200.
Hey, if you talk NBA, they say who's the best basketball player. Most of the people say Michael Jordan.
Well, let's see if we can break it down a little bit.
Putting you on the spot.
You know what, boss? You can do it like hitter, pitcher, midfielder. You can do whatever you want, my brother. It's your world. You can do whatever you want.
Let's take a step back and broaden the discussion.
All right.
In terms of being an impact human being, John Peter Frates III was every bit the consummate human being, athlete, competitor, teammate, mentor, and just overall good person. We've had great players. Dan Graham, Mike Kotarski. Dan Graham has been for a long time the very successful Lowell High School baseball coach. He's one of the greatest hitters I've ever had here. Ryan Hannigan, great player. Stephen Gaff, shortstop from Reading High School and Bentley University, great player. The list goes on and on and on. Mike Kotoski in 1998 won 13 games, 13-0, 13 wins against no loss. He had a 0.7 ERA.
Wow.
Imagine? Can you imagine that? 13 games in the summer.
So my brother, this is what I want you to understand. Like, you've been a part of so many great players, and we want to hear it. Like, can we? Cause I know just off the
How much
top,
time do you have?
people that I know,
How much
we
time
got
do you have?
all the time in the world for you.
I'd be
brother.
curious.
Okay, now let's
You
go.
are a you are a legend, my brother.
The legends are the people that go out to the field.
Whatever you want to do, we're gonna do.
I
would love to actually hear
the ones that go out in the field. I haven't been a legend. If I
Yes,
was
but
ever a
they
legend,
all my brother, they all gravitate to you.
Omar wants
well,
to choose.
you know what? Rick gravitates to the people who commit and play the game the way it's meant to be played. No
I love
finer
that.
one than the three pitchers we talked about: Ryan O'Rourke, Manny Del Carmen. I'm going to go on and on. Pat McGowan, Matt Karras, Paul Bibbo. I mean, I could read off all 1,200 names. Okay,
But this is what I'm trying to tell you, my brother, because you are what amateur baseball is in Boston.
well, you kind of say that, but I can't do this by myself.
You have. I know you haven't, because I know it's hard. But I'm trying to say you're like an example for a person like me. Like, I run teams. There's other people that run teams, and they look at the Blue Sox. You guys are the mecca, and you've done something that a lot of people don't understand what the hell going on, because you guys won at the top of the top.
We did, but it's a team effort. I mean, honestly.
Yes.
Look, we're not playing golf, or we're not playing singles tennis. I'm not I'm not a tennis player, and God knows I don't play golf as well as my brother-in-law does. No way. But I was a baseball player, and we were all trained to be part of a team. Teams win games, and teams that put their oar in the water in the same way and pull on the oars in the same direction at the same time, those are the ones that win. And the trick here isn't who's the best. They all are great players. We've had nothing but great players, honestly. I mean, if you pick one out of the air, and I'll tell you all about them, how great this person happens to have been, But, one thing I would say to you is, I've done this for 31 years.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way in the world I couldn't do this without the partner I have in life, my wife.
Yes.
Give the wife a shout out.
Can we go on?
Yeah, you have to go ahead.
Come on in. Come on.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, my brother.
Get your
kudos. Get your kudos.
Oh, brotherhood. I told them about the brotherhood.
It's always a brotherhood.
It's incredible.
Awesome.
It's like everybody drinks the same Kool-Aid. And you know what? They all have their funny Rick stories, and Rick has all funny stories about them. I told. I saw Alex Voidick. Now, Alex Voidick's name kept popped up. Alex was a Holy Cross catcher from Joliet, Illinois. His college coach at the time, Greg DeCenzo, called me and said, "I have a catcher for you." Now, this is unheard of, by the way. Most of the time, they're sending their kids to the Futures League or the NECBL or some other collegiate league someplace in East Oshkosh, right? But Greg DeCenzo says, "I got a catcher for you, Alex Voidick from Joliet, Illinois. He needs a special kind of your kind of mentoring and discipline." So Alex came here as a junior in college, sophomore or junior in college, Alex. He'll tell us in a minute, I'm sure. But in any case, he hasn't left yet, and he's been out of college since 2019. They don't leave.
Yeah, I mean,
and you should ask them why they don't leave. I have my theories. They like being part of this program. They like being with a winner. They still like to compete. And again, it translates. Alex is a very talented
He's a sophomore.
engineer. And he competes in that, and he competes on the baseball diamond, for example, as do all these other guys. It's just incredible. And the team we put together last year came this close to winning championship number 8.
I was just going to bring that up. I wanted to talk about last season because, these past few years you've had quite some competition, specifically with the Andre Chiefs run by Chuck Andre. And you told me earlier, I didn't realize you guys had such a close relationship, which is funny because lately you guys have been meeting a lot in the finals. And I watched a lot of those games, like we talked about, Sam Feely, live streams, all of the games. I watched a lot of that series. That was an incredible series. You guys came very close to coming back. The back-to-back home runs. I think at the 7th.
Hit by 2 high school kids, by the way.
Oh, 2 high
Nick
school
Anderson
kids.
And Dominic Gabardi.
Yeah.
Imagine that, a high school kid in the extra innings, one after the other. Boom, boom. We're 1 run away from tying the game, and we're 2 runs away from winning it. And we actually could have won it in regulation, but that's sort of second guessing. But Chuck, let's talk about Chuck for a second, and get off talking about Rick for the moment. Chuck is a great baseball guy. What he does for his Chiefs is incredible, and we are the best of friends. Unabashedly, I admire him for how he does what he does with grace, class, and dignity, and we are the best of friends. But we love to compete against each other. And it doesn't get any better than that. And during the baseball season, we talk virtually every day because we we together with Orazio Azzarello and Kevin Loftus sort of operate as the executive board of the Intercity League. So we talk regularly every day. There's always something coming up. There's always a controversy of some sort.
Always. And
in the off season, we talk. I mean, we've had 4 or 5 meetings about our relationship with the Park League and the Yawkey League and interleague play among those 3 leagues. And we had a 3-league meeting the other evening, and we're working through adjustments, and we're going to continue our program and on some modified basis come 2025.
So you guys are going to continue the league games?
Yeah, in some fashion, yeah. We're going to have interleague play.
Okay.
And we're making, the first year is a pilot program, and you learn what works and what doesn't work, and the stuff that doesn't work, we're going to tinker with. It didn't work as well as we thought it might. We're going to tinker with it and make some adjustments. And what the whole goal here is if and when people like Chuck or myself leave, and who knows when that will be, we want to leave amateur baseball better than we found it, stable, strong, and able to ward off the collegiate leagues. Back in the day, there was the Cape League, and there was the Park League, and there was the Intercity League, and the
Yawkey League. Yeah.
If you were a Boston area kid and you were playing college baseball someplace, you either went to the Cape if you were invited, and if you weren't invited, you played in the Intercity League or the Park League or the Yawkey League. Now we compete with all kinds of different leagues, and that erodes the talent base in the sense that there are more teams competing for the same group of players. So now, how do you go about strengthening your leagues? Teams do fold. I mean, it's no fun to go beat a team up and mercy rule them, for example.
Yeah. I feel like we have to come together as like leaders of our leagues, because if you look around what's going on in the country, it's a lot of the college players are going down south in the summer to play, and there's no reason why they can't be out here in Boston and compete at a high level.
I agree with you.
I feel like a lot of leagues, they're just so stuck on, this is my league, this is what matters. Boss, I don't know if you ever heard of CHBL. I just created that league last year, and we have top-notch players, collegiate players, all professional players, and we have a great base of players. And I want to try to like unite all of us because the game is not the same anymore. There is so much competition, and at the end of the day, during this time, I feel like we have to come together and try to create the best league possible in this area because there's guys going to Florida and all this. All that shit is washed down. There's so many great complexes and fields out here that we can create the best collegiate league in the country easily in this area. But the only way it's going to happen if we all come together and put it together because we have the right people.
No, I think that makes sense. Let me tell you another conversation I had with Gus Quattlebaum, who monitors the Cape League quite regularly. This year, for the first time, this past year, the Cape League suffered something that was inconceivable. And here's what happens. It's a combination of the NIL money that's available as well as the transfer portal. So lots and lots of players go into the transfer portal. They're unhappy with their playing time or the position they're playing or whatever, how they're being used. So they find greener pastures. And when they get recruited out of the portal, they're offered money. And the people who are doing the recruiting, the new college coach that's taking these kids says, okay, you got a deal, but you're going to have to leave the Cape. I want you on my campus next week.
Yeah.
And these kids never, ever left the Cape. I played there 2 summers.
Yeah.
The only time I left the Cape was when the season was over.
Yeah.
All right. Now they're leaving mid-season, and it's a constant shuffling of people. It's like a revolving door. And the Cape is not as prestigious as it once was. And I'm kind of still connected to Couture, where I played, because I take my team down there every year. I talk to Bruce Murphy, who's the general manager there, quite regularly because we're talking about baseball and we're talking about common interests and common issues, and he brings this up as well. It's tough to get kids to commit, particularly the kids who play down south coming up here. They want to be here for a while, but when they want to go, they want to leave, and that leads the Cape teams having to constantly refill their rosters. Yeah.
So are they leaving for the money?
In baseball.
Are they leaving for the money, or do they think they'll have a better shot of being seen, playing at
I think it depends on who the kid is and what he's being offered and what school is offering him. Even if there were no money.
I don't mean to cut you off, but do you ever think that there could be a possibility that maybe we can create something that these top-notch players from all over the country can come over here and make a couple dollars and play baseball and top-notch and bring it to the Boston area compared to the Cape and all this? Because I feel like now is the time because baseball is really dying, and it's about creating new entities and new ideas because these studs players rather go somewhere else and they're going to get more exposure. So if you have something over here that you're creating that is new and different, now you're going to have the top players always want to come over here.
Well, I haven't thought about it a lot. But I would tell you that if I were to think about it more than I have, and I've only thought about it in a cursory fashion, you would have to start with, if you're going to pay them, where's the money coming from? So that's the seminal question here. How are you going to pay them if you're going to pay them at all? And paying a summer player, you'd have to figure out how that fits into what is the definition of an amateur and what is permissible and not permissible, and how do you fund if you had the money in the first place, and that's being a big presumption. How would you funnel it or channel it to different players in a way that comported with the the collegiate NIL rules that exist today, if there are any. So I think we're a ways off from that. It's an idea, but you'd have to do it with a big splash and a big pot of money that was distributed legally and ethically and so on. I'm not sure it's in the cards anytime soon.
Okay. Hey, I'm just asking.
No, I know. Good conversation to have, you know.
So
one of the questions you asked me was, of all these championships,
yes, any of them.
is there one that stands out? I actually printed out all the questions.
I love it.
And I studied them, and I was prepared to answer them.
Awesome.
So,
fantastic.
you want to know which one?
Which one? The
I
last
don't know
one?
if I have one. I have three. Here they are. The very first one,
Of course.
in 1998, we went 33-8.
Wow.
Mike Kotowski was 13-0 with a 0.70 ERA. We had a team that could have beaten any AA baseball, affiliated baseball MLB team. We had all-stars at every position, former college players, former pros. Kotowski pitched AAA baseball in the Yankee system. That's why he was so good. But it was the first one. And the first one, it's like Christmas. And you have a gift that's wrapped. And you go downstairs and you unwrap the gift that's in a you guys remember an erector set?
Oh, yeah.
You put these pieces of metal together.
Yep.
And they usually come with directions. Well, winning the first championship is like putting an erector set together, except that nobody remembered to put the directions in the box. So you have to figure it out as you go along. And we came close in 95. We made it to the finals. 96, we came a little closer. 97, almost. But 98, we were there. But we took time to figure out how to put the Ferris wheel together. What parts went on top of what. But after the first one, we had a method, and it became not easy. It became easier to figure out how to try the best route to get where we needed to go. So the first one is always the most special. And I do remember going to a baseball card show, and Ted Williams appeared on a Saturday and signed autographs, and Joe DiMaggio appeared on a Sunday. And I was in line to get a Joe DiMaggio autograph. And Joe DiMaggio was dressed impeccably, a suit and a white shirt and a tie. The white shirt was starched, and he was dressed for success. And he had on a World Series ring. And I asked him, of all your World Series rings, which one is that? And he said, it was the first. And I asked him why. And he said, that's why, because it was the first. And it's very special. The first one is always very special. And it resonated with me. And the next one that is memorable, they're all memorable because teams change a little bit each year. We'll get into that in about the core players.
Do you have 16 rings? Do you have 16 different rings?
Yeah, we do. We get a ring every time we win.
You got them in a box or anything you can show us?
I'm not where I am today. I do have one.
Oh, you're in Florida. That's right, yeah.
I don't carry it around with me.
Hey, you should.
I probably would.
Probably should.
I've won one.
The next one was the very first one with Pete Frates.
The next one is the best one.
The last one is the best one. Yeah, and that's the third one. The last one we won. The last one is always the best one because it's the most current, But they're all special because each and every team has its own unique heart, soul, and character. Yeah. And the players, they give to win a championship, you have to be as selfless as humanly possible, and then some. You have to subjugate your personality to that of the team. And every championship team that we have had has done exactly that. The players come together for the greater good of the team. And in so doing, they play even beyond their own expected expectations. They play beyond what they expect of themselves. It's incredible to see, and it's incredible to be a part of it. And as I say, I'm the guy that throws out the bats and the balls, even the Zorian bats.
I was just gonna say, you got to give a shout out to Zorian, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I've won one championship, so I couldn't even imagine winning 6.
It never gets old. Winning never gets old.
I believe it. Omar's won a bunch of championships, so he knows what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It's everyone is different.
it is. Every team is different.
Every team is different. Every struggle is different. Every win is different. Every practice is different. Every player is different. But one thing I respect is that you've been doing this for 30 years, and I've done it for maybe 15, and I'm ready to like stop. And you done it 2 times as much as me,
I
my
was
brother.
ready to
Like,
stop after
I
5.
want your telephone number. I'm
God
going to call you in
bless
15
you.
years.
Yeah, like God bless you, my brother, because I'm like, damn, like, because it's this running an adult baseball team is hard. It's not easy, you know, man. People take it like extra, like personal, and
All right.
you know, and you know, you've been up
do.
30 years. You've seen it all. You've seen it all. You know,
Well, you
and
know, when you have, let me just describe a couple of our guys, and some of whom you know. I mean, you know Josue Feliciano.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
Josue.
I know what's right. Yeah,
And you know Julian Alvarez.
Yep.
Right?
Julian. Yeah, I know Julian. Yeah,
Julian.
Clean.
I love those guys.
Yeah, me too. And Julian is a tremendous player, but he's also a great teammate. Again,
He's a
common
great guy.
thread here is
Great guy.
great player, great teammate, great leader, great mentor.
Yeah.
Julian, he likes to be called King, the King, right? King Julian.
King
That's who he
Julian.
is, King Julian.
He ain't no king
He's a great
over
player.
here, dog. He ain't no king. Julian, if you watching, you ain't no king. I love you though. I love him. That's my brother.
He does hit bombs. He does hit bombs.
Yo, he's one of the best. I'm gonna be honest. That's one of the best baseball players I've ever played with, and I've always told him that. You know, I've always told him that, yo, bro, you're the best player I've ever played with, because he's a great hitter. But when you usually play with great hitters, like once like in a deep count, like they fold, he gets better.
You know,
He gets
Omar,
better.
you said it. You hit the nail on the head. And to go further, I'd say to you, big time players come up big in big games,
Yes,
and that is a good summation of who Julian is.
He's a fucking.
He has hit so many game-breaking and game-winning playoff home runs at Morelli Field into right center field, which is probably the deepest spot of that ball.
And that's how you know you're a fucking monster, if you're hitting it to right center as a righty.
Right, because he stayed on the ball, stayed through it, and stayed on it.
Stop it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a beast. He gets mad at me because of Josue. Josue, you know Josue is hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No.
and yeah, no, you know.
No, I'm kidding.
I love these guys because I've always said it. They're legends to the Boston baseball. Like,
Yeah.
those are the guys. Like, it's not. Yo, listen, we went to Florida the year before the pandemic, and we won the championship in a tournament out there. Josue was there and Julian, and we would have not won without them two. Those guys were the difference.
He's a difference maker.
They're great players. They're great
They're
teammates.
awesome ball players.
You may remember Richie Burgos.
Burgos, yes, he's another monster.
Another monster.
He's a monster.
Basically.
I know. You've had some great ball players, man. And I wish like the people that are watching understand the dynamic of the players that we have in this area. Like, we got some beasts. Pitchers, hitters, fielders, you know, and I feel like
There are a lot of great players in the Boston.
Yeah.
And there always have been.
yeah.
And think about the players that retired at a young age that, you know, could still play, you know, decided to hang them up for whatever reason at an early age.
We've been very fortunate when guys come They stay for a long time because they're good, they enjoy it, and they enjoy their teammates. And the message I try and give to all the players: we're good at what we do. We like to win, but we have fun doing it. And this is not meant to be a job like college baseball has turned into today. College baseball is virtually a 12-month-a-year proposition. We have fun doing it. Do we play every night? We don't play 7 nights a week. Players don't want to play 7 nights a week. But we play often enough that the skill level is still at a very high level. And we all need a day away here and there from the ballpark. Although on days off, we probably go watch somebody else play.
I do need to get your thoughts on a particular player, because I play with him now in a 38-plus league. Sammy Steed.
Oh, Sammy.
Special character. And you can be honest. You can be honest. I'm sure.
Sammy was a great left-handed pitcher at the University of Tampa. And he came to the Blue Sox, and he's probably won 116, 120 Intercity League games. He's an Intercity League Hall of Famer, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. He's made the Hall of Fame.
And the only thing bad you could say about Sammy, and I say that and put bad in quotes, is he's gone over to the blue side, not the dark side. He became an umpire.
Well, I became one too. So.
Oh well.
And he actually has been one of my mentors.
Sam.
Yeah, he's been one of my mentors actually.
Yeah, Sammy. Look, I can tell you about the 2006 championship season that we beat the Cassell Club. Sammy was instrumental.
He's still pitching. I mean, he's still
in
great.
That, along with Bill Cook. Bill Cook.
Sammy's always been a good lefty pitcher, bro. He's always been.
Yeah, Sammy C was a lefty. Billy Cook was a lefty.
Always.
Listen, how about this? In 2 successive years, Bill Cook, the first year he walked one guy. The next year he walked nobody. And he won 9 games, 9-0 one year, and 8-1 the next year. And when you faced him, Sammy, and Katarsky, you were facing death.
Yeah,
all of those games. Those guys were good, and they knew how to pitch. But all these guys, they learn. The good ones learn.
So
from the veterans.
Now that we're talking about our era and all that, how do you see the game now? Like, how do you see the game moving forward? Are you worried that the game is not going to be the same? Like, what do you see the future of Boston baseball? All our leagues in this area, what do you see happening moving forward?
I think you're going to have to see some sort of consolidation or alignment, because without it, teams at some point will end up folding, dropping out, retiring, call it what you will, because it's just not enough players, quality players to go around. And people are getting older, both players and folks that run teams. And one of the questions you asked me is what keeps me motivated. Have I thought about getting out? And my answer to date is I'm here because it's a for love of the game thing for me. But I can't answer for anybody else. But if you don't try and anticipate the future, you'll be looking at it in the rearview mirror and wonder what happened to you. So we have to do something as a group, right?
Yes.
We just can't stand pat and say, we rest on our laurels and say, hey, everything was great last year. So by definition, it will be great again this year. That doesn't work that way. Yeah. You have to continually improve. And here's the thing. I hate to say when I played, but when I played, I had no say over when we played. When my first year playing in the Intercity League in 1965, 65, right?
Wow.
We played 44 games. I was a St. John's Prep rising senior. I went back for preseason football, and I can remember scrimmaging Lynn English at St. John's Prep on Saturday morning and playing a playoff Intercity League game that afternoon against a team from North Cambridge, and the baseball looked like a BB, trying to hit a BB with a baseball bat.
Hey, yo.
It's hard. It's not easy, but kids today don't want to play 44 games. They go back to school earlier. Schools.
And that's the problem. The kids don't want to play so many games right now.
No, they don't.
Because right now, just think about this. They in college, they want to come out and play in the league. Maybe 20, 25 games.
Right.
What's important to these kids is the games that matter. Games that are intense. Great games.
Correct.
Not 40 games, because 40 games is watered down.
We played 25 last year plus the playoffs. This year we're probably going to play in order to accommodate
you don't need that many games, man.
Interleague. Well, we're going to probably play 28 games this year.
Let me ask you a question. Can I have an all-star game, Intercity versus CHBL?
We're talking about that now. We're talking about an all-star game now. So
can you do it against the CHBL?
More to come. I'm just one voice here, along with Walter Benson and Dave McKay.
Well, how do you feel about the tournament that they used to
No,
have?
because we brought up the EMAS Classic. We brought up the EMAS Classic, and I was the one that told McKay. I'm like, McKay, let's get the EMAS Classic going. Yeah, I'm gonna send an email in January. We just haven't heard.
We're going to talk about it. We haven't gotten that far yet, but we are going to talk about it.
Okay, perfect. Just keep us involved, too, because we want to be involved in this, too.
Well, I think everybody needs to be involved for amateur baseball to thrive.
Agreed.
We're not just talking about surviving. We're talking about thriving and casting our wings in a little greater detail.
Yes, sir.
So if the day ever comes where you decide to retire from baseball, is there anyone you've thought of passing the team down to? Or
it's a good question you asked, Dan.
That wasn't on the list. I'm sorry. I just came up with
it. I promise to call you when I have a good answer.
Okay. All right.
Big shoes to fill. Again, we have 3 guys working with us. Now we work together and collaboratively. Matt Karras, Pat McGowan, and Alex Voidick, a great catcher in his own right, a great pitch caller, a great mentor of pitchers. He calls them sheep that have to be led around. I don't think that he would do that to Ryan O'Rourke, however. But Alex has joined our coaching staff, and he's going to be heavily involved. I don't know if anybody has expressed an interest in taking over, but they certainly, all 3 of these guys, have significant input. I'm not the pitching coach. Pat McGowan is, and before Matt was, and Alex has ideas which he's going to implement with hitters and catchers and the relationship between pitchers and catchers. So we have, for the moment, we have everything covered. But the question you ask is a legitimate question, and I would like to find somebody at some point who would allow me to step away and become the general manager.
Let them know you're not done.
Let me know if you're interested.
I already managed one team. I never thought I'd do it again. After managing for 5 years, and I got sucked back in. Baseball has a way of.
5 years is easy to do.
It's clearly.
It's a lot.
Hey, we could talk. We might be able to do something. Trust me. Trust me. We good. Trust me.
Yeah. All right.
Trust me. I'm gonna hit you up. We're gonna talk.
Take 2 and hit the right?
No, but I respect everything you've done, because you guys have been the pinnacle of what franchises are in amateur baseball. You know, you guys won. Me and Dan were talking earlier. Oh, who had the most championships? I'm like, there's no way anyone has anywhere close to the Lexington Blue Sox. There's no way. And then he mentioned Somerville. Somerville's won a lot, but they haven't won what you guys won.
I know
And
the Metro Red Sox.
no,
Al
no one,
Brandy's
no
left
one,
No one probably
no
has that
one,
many.
no one, no one,
Alabama is up there.
no
Metro
one.
Red Sox. I know they've won a bunch, but
We have some very good friends who escapees from Alabrandi's. One of whom is Teddy Juba, as you
Teddy
know.
Zuba, he plays with
Yeah. Teddy,
with-
my
plays-
man Teddy.
plays with the Chiefs.
Wouldn't
right?
wouldn't every team love to have Teddy Juba play?
Listen. Me personally, I've been playing baseball in Boston for 19 years. I feel like that's the best player I've seen out here.
He's a hell of a good player. He's a good person too.
Think of, am I wrong for saying that?
No, he's one of the top hitters easily.
He's
Good player.
not just that. He's a great player.
Yeah,
He
great
still
catcher,
is.
great catcher.
Even at his, I hope he's listening, Teddy. Even at your advanced age, you're still a
Advanced
player.
stage.
You're old, but you're still great.
Yeah.
But you know, and that's what I've always loved about our leagues. Is like we've had some great players come and play in these leagues, you know, and
When they stay and they play a long time. When they play with commitment and desire and passion.
And that's why I respect the most is Julian. Besides Josue, because Josue is like a kid. He wants to play. But like a guy like Julian has all the talent in the world, and he's like committed. He loves the game, and Josue too. But Julian is like,
They won 18.
you know.
I guess.
So
According to Powers, they won 18. So
It really boils down to for love of the game.
yeah.
Yep.
Again,
and that's
the
why we're
model-
doing this
The
podcast.
model that has always worked here is you combine good veteran players with good young talent, whether they're high school seniors now. We're not talking about just the average run-of-the-mill high school senior. You've got to be a good high school player.
Yeah.
Here. And I mentioned a couple. Sal Frelick. I mean, Sal Frelick is the right field Gold Glove winner in the National League for the Milwaukee Brewers, right?
Yeah.
American League for the Brewers, whatever league they're in. All right. Sal Frelick is one of the best kids, great talent, great athlete, but good high school players. The young guys that we had last year were prep school kids, you know, and they were accomplished in their own right. But you know, they go to the next. They want to see what the next level is going to be like. The next level is where they're going to go play college baseball. And a lot of them get recruited to go play in the Futures League now.
Yeah.
We were fortunate that we had 5 or 6 of them because we run a good program. I will tell you that I've had relationships with different college coaches for a long time. Without mentioning names, we had 2 or 3 guys who had summer internships that started the 1st of July. And they came back one came from the Futures League, one came from the NECBL, and they played here in July and August, and they qualified for the playoffs easily. But that doesn't happen with any old team. It was an assistant at one of these Boston area schools, for example, who called and said, "Hey, can you use such and such kind of a player?" Yeah, we can. And they call because they want to send those guys here. They don't want to send them to somebody who won 5 games and lost 25 the year before. You know, they want to send them someplace where they're going to get meaningful innings or meaningful at bats. And they're not sending you just some kid who needs to work and can't get it anywhere else. They're sending you somebody who's going to have a Boston-based internship. You know, so it's those kinds of relationships that also are good for teams like the Blue Sox.
You carry a pretty deep roster.
You have to work at it. Well, you know, here's what happens. Let me tell you about creating a lineup on any given night.
Oh man,
that's got to be tough.
Oh man, you got an army.
Yeah, the first lineup I make of the day probably is at 10 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9. Who knows? Maybe even 8 when I get out of bed.
Love it.
And it's not the last one that I make. I probably make 4 or 5 because I get phone calls or text messages that says,
Always.
here's
I can't
what
make it.
you get. Quote, these are direct quotes. Coach, I'm out tonight. End quote.
Well, we're very familiar.
You were playing second base and batting second. So now I need a second baseman and a 2-hitter.
Yep.
Somebody else calls. I can't make it tonight. My former girlfriend is coming to town from New Zealand. And even though she's my former girlfriend, my heart is pinging for her.
Oh my God!
What the stories you hear are incredible.
Oh.
So you have to remake and make your lineups, and you have to carry deep rosters as a result. Nobody wants to play Friday night. Playing Friday night, we created something called, it's not novel. Friday Night Lights. We have pizza and the calzone or whatever. We have sandwiches and board games, cornhole and stuff like that to see if we can attract people to come, not fans, players. And nobody wants to play Sundays. Yeah. So what does that leave you? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Nobody plays Saturday anyway, generally speaking. Right. It's a challenge, and you begin to talk to yourself. And when you start talking and listening to yourself, that's when it probably is time to get out.
It's good to know that still happens even with the Blue Sox.
It's something that everybody experiences.
Yeah. It's one of my frustrations.
Running an adult baseball team is the hardest thing in sports. Let's be real. It's not easy. It's not. No matter people. Some of us make it look easy. No, it's not easy because
these are people that are working 9 to 5 jobs. I'm sure they're showing up to their work every day.
It's not just that. It's that in your job they're paying you. If you're playing baseball and a lot of these players think they're better than what they are, and that's when the problem becomes.
It's it isn't as simple as saying a 9 to 5 job. I agree with Omar. People have a lot of things going on in their lives.
I get that.
If you're able to get a particular player or group of players for extended periods, for example, Josue Feliciano would never ever think of calling and saying, "I'm out tonight. I have a headache."
No, never.
No, neither would Julian.
I think he did that to me a couple times, but
I'll tell you, some of my young guys are very much like that also.
Maybe he did it to you, Dan, because you got to go play for the Blue Sox.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a challenge. It's every night is an adventure.
Yeah.
And the closer you get to game time, we hit at 6:30 at night before an 8 o'clock game, and look. Guys do have, particularly the young guys, they have summer internships. And I say to them, all right, BP is at 6:30. Don't worry if you're not there right at 6:30. Get there when you can if you're coming from an internship. You're coming out of Boston. I come out of Boston, but I get to leave a little earlier than you do. Just call or text and give us some idea what your ETA is so we know you're coming.
Right.
And we'll get you in the queue as soon as you get there, as soon as you get stretched. But even with that, stuff comes up, and it's the last minute, I'm out tonight. I've never understood what I'm out tonight means, really. What do you mean?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Right.
Oh, my God. Last year, we're in the playoff semifinals. My ace is supposed to pitch. I'm out tonight.
Yeah. Exactly.
Bro, the game's an hour and a half away. Bro, what the hell did happen?
I almost had to forfeit one.
I will tell you, Omar, in
playoff
30 years or 30 years to date, ask me how many games I have missed.
Probably not a lot.
You're right, not a lot. I'm going to give you a number.
Mine's 0. 0?
0.
Yes, give me a pound. Because I can tell you the same thing. I'm at 0. Pound right here.
Let me tell you, I came close once. I was in New York City on business, and I was there overnight on a night we didn't play. And the next morning, I had a quick meeting, and then I had to hop on a plane at LaGuardia to come back to Boston. Except there were wicked thunderstorms up and down the East Coast. We got deboarded from the plane. I went down to something that probably doesn't exist anymore, Concord Car Rental, and I rented a car. Now, I had a driver, a car service, and the guy was going like 40, 50 miles an hour. I said, I have to be in Morelli Field in Melrose. I said, so, hey, how about I drive on the way up? You can rest so I can go faster. You can drive on the way back. And he said, that sounds like a good idea. So he pulled over, and I drove, probably illegal, but I don't know.
I love it.
I drove up, and I got there. I got there on time. The only game I ever managed in a suit like Connie Mack.
Hey, you're a legend out here, and we gotta try to figure out a way to grow this game, because I feel like there's a lot of like selfish shit going on. There's a lot of people that want to do their own shit and don't want to collaborate, because right now you have to collaborate. Because right now it's not. There's only so many players we're gonna get in this area. There's only so many players we're gonna get in this area. So if you have 10 studs and you got 4 teams, like what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like, and I've tried to reach out to league. You know, like I don't know if you ever heard of the CHBL. We have a tremendous amount of talent, and I've always wanted to like. Last year was our first main year. This is our second year, and I wanted to like have an all-star game against you guys. We played the North Shore last year, and I just want to be like bring something that can at least inspire other people to be and continue this game that we've always been a part of. You know, and I know you.
Then the way to do that is to sit down and talk about it.
Okay.
All right. Let's get together at some point soon.
Yeah.
Okay, we will.
Because, you know, there's all this talk of who's the best league in Boston, and I don't think it should be about that. But I also think it would be a pretty cool tournament, you know, if you could have it every year. And I know, I think it used to be the EMAS Classic.
We did. We ran it for several years. We called it the Eastern Mass All-Star Baseball Classic. We had the
understanding it's tough to find
the Intercity League and the Cranberry League.
Right.
And I talked to McKay about it, and he was supposed to hit me up and like combine. I spoke to Raz about it with your Intercity League, the Cranberry League. We spoke. North Shore League wanted to do it. We wanted to do it. So I feel like that's something great for just baseball.
You got to get the players committed too. The players don't want to play on a Saturday, for example.
Right.
That's you end up with so many of these guys saying, "I'm out. I can't make it. I can't do it."
But this year, July 4th falls on like a Thursday. If the leagues commit to be like, you know what, we're gonna leave that Sunday off all the way to Thursday, we can have something going on in July.
It's a possibility. You got to make sure these kids aren't going away on vacation. Everybody wants to go to the beach these days.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
You got to figure it out. It sounds simple, but it's not.
I feel like it's not simple, but if I've always learned that if you show someone a product that they want to be a part of, they're gonna make the due diligence to make sure they're a part of it, you know. And there's not really any tournament. There's not really any tournament in Boston right now besides the WBC that guys got stuff to look forward to, you know. And there's nothing like playing baseball and you playing guys that you don't normally play against.
Well, we're all in Florida and Arizona, right? All those.
No, we have them here.
I know we have a couple, but a lot of those major tournaments, you know.
Yeah.
Because they can do it in February and January, you know. It's nice there. It's not nice here. So we're stuck with 4 or 5 months out of the year.
See if we can figure it out.
Bro, I've been a part of the EMAS tournament. I've seen what that tournament brings to the city of Boston.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And all I say is like these kids that are coming up in college, like they want to be able to play against the best. You know, and if you present tournaments like these for them, all-star games like these for them, they're gonna want to play in this area rather than going to Florida.
Well, then maybe you want to create an in-season tournament, sort of like the NHL All-Star.
Oh, that'd be fire.
That was pretty cool.
That would be dope. We could do that. That'd be dope because there's so many. I feel like a lot of these leagues, we don't have enough months for them to play games like they should. You feel me?
No, we don't.
It's like 1 or 2 months, and then they gotta go back to college. So at least in the 2 months that they're here, if we can grab 1 or 2, 3 tournaments that they can participate and be like, it's worth playing in Boston. It's a no-brainer because these kids want to play against the best. You know,
Let's
and
see
if
what
we
we figure out. I think we're going to sit around the table and kick around the ideas.
all right.
All right?
So, Rick.
Yes.
We appreciate your time. Appreciate you being on here. We could talk baseball forever. I got one last question. What's in store for 2025? Any new players to look out for? How are you guys?
We will have some new players. We started roster building probably in the middle of October, and we're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
We got some nice surprises of players returning. We have some young college kids who are going to either the NECBL or the Futures League, and my view on that is I compare it to when I played, and I left the Intercity League after 3 years when I was a Holy Cross sophomore to play in the Cape League. So I played there for a couple of summers. And if I were to be angry or object or try and stop a player from going to a collegiate league, I'd be a hypocrite. So at some point, they will return. Hopefully after their college careers are over. And I'm willing to wait for them. Never cut off. And I have one particular guy in mind. And I said to him, I'm going to call him John. I don't have a player by the name of
John Doe.
John Doe. Mr. Doe, I'm happy for you. Go off and knock him dead. And when if it doesn't work out, you can always return. And when your eligibility is up in the Futures League, you please come back. What else can you say? It'd be hypocritical for me to try and stop a kid from doing that. Everybody has dreams and aspirations. I think we all have dreamed and aspired to play the highest level of baseball we can, including into professional baseball. So if the next step in your journey, if you're John Doe or Harry Smith, happens to be the Cape League or the Futures League, go for it. We'll be here when you come back.
I mean,
we'll be waiting for you.
You guys remember Justin Dunn, who pitched at Boston College?
I remember the name.
Justin Dunn was a first rounder with the Mets.
Oh.
Yeah, the Mets. And I had him one summer because he was a Boston College sophomore.
Yeah.
He had a summer school commitment. So he came and played here for me, and we have been friends ever since. And the next year, I took him with us to Catuit. He pitched against Catuit. Mike Roberts, who used to coach at University of North Carolina, saw him and came over to me, and this guy hit 90. Justin Dunn hit 97 on the radar gun. And Mike Roberts came over and said, with a nice southern drawl, said, "Rick, would you mind if I recruit Justin Dunn from your roster?" And I said, "Mike, I would be honored if you did that." So listen to what he asked Justin Dunn if he'd accept a contract for the rest of the year was just starting. And Justin Dunn said, "Well, we were playing a 3-game series against Catuit, a Saturday and 2 games on Sunday." And Justin Dunn had a great answer. He said, "I'd like to talk to my parents and my college coach. Can we talk tomorrow after I do that?" And Mike Roberts said, "Sure." The next day, Justin Dunn came back and said, "Well, I made a commitment here, And when I finish my summer school, I'm going to the Ripken League. But I'd be happy to play for you thereafter. So Justin Dunn stayed with us through his summer school, left, and he ended up pitching for Katuitt. Mike Roberts gave him a full year contract that very day that we had the second powwow. But in that's one of those unique circumstances where you get an elite college kid because he has a summer school or an internship commitment. Doesn't happen that often, but once in a while it does. It happened to us last summer as well in a positive way. So it has to do with reputation and what your program offers that other programs don't. So we try and run the best program we can. We don't try and compete with anybody but ourselves in terms of running a first-rate baseball program. And that means being available for them, having pregame, and not just showing up, running out of an automobile to play a baseball game,
Yes, sir.
I mean, I think it's incredible that you're still putting the same level of effort into recruiting,
Yeah.
30 years than you did, I'm sure, when you
It's fun.
first started.
It's fun. It's challenging. It's competitive.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not. You know that. You guys.
Yeah,
know.
of course, it's not easy. It's not easy.
No.
You make it look you make it look easy, but it's not easy.
Well, it is not. It's not. It's challenging, but it's exhilarating at the same time.
Yeah.
Particularly when you get a text message back from a kid, and you're wondering, where's the punchline? I'm looking for yes or no. I'm hoping I'm going to see yes.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I'm glad these people don't understand how hard it is. It's hard. It's hard. Running adult baseball teams is not easy, people.
No, it's not. And
It's not
mixed
easy.
college gets into it now.
Oh my God!
It's you have different expectations and different needs at both ends of the spectrum. The college kid on one end and the former college player at the other end. So you figure it out. But so far in 30 years, I have not had to come out of retirement to play first base or right field. And I think that's good.
Hey, do you think the game of baseball right now is better off now? What do you think about these young kids? Are they playing the game the right way?
The young kids, you mentioned it in the beginning. There are some very, very talented kids. They're athletic. They've had great training at these places like NEB, New England Baseball, or some of the other places. And they just haven't played enough baseball, and they're all wrapped up in themselves.
Are they coachable?
The ones I've had are tremendously coachable.
Awesome.
Yeah, they are tremendous, and that's not a put off. We've been fortunate. I mean, I consider myself, one of my strengths, I think, is being able to communicate and understand. Look, everybody has these expectations, where they want to go. They have their fears. They have their needs. They have their wants. And we've all been players. And if you put yourself in their shoes and try and be relevant, one of the great things about baseball, for me anyway, is being relevant. Nobody wants to know, back in my day, we did it this way. If somebody were to say to me, how did you do this? You were a right fielder. I'm a right fielder. You were a first baseman. I was a first baseman. How would you handle the situation in real time game? Then what you did and how you did it becomes relevant. But to tell stories about back in my day, we did this and we did that, and we all ate nails and spit them out, and we didn't break our teeth in the process.
Yeah,
nobody wants to hear that.
And I agree with you because I play a lot of tournaments and I travel in the United States, so I meet different people, and I've never for example, first base. I never say this is how you gotta play first base. This is what it is. I give them examples. If you're low and you see the ball bounce, if you're lower, you're gonna have a higher opportunity to catch the ball.
You know what? You don't sound like the same player. You love to pick the ball out of the dirt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
to me, I don't want to be like, oh no, I say if you get low and you watch the ball, you pick it up. You feel me? But a lot of these kids like that I've dealt with, like they don't want to listen to the old head. They don't want to like, bro. Like we played baseball for a long time. For me, I want to see good baseball. I know this generation now has way more talent than we had coming up, but are they playing the game the right way?
In your case, in my case, and Dan's, we had way better talent than anybody on the planet.
Sound like
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But are they playing the game the right way?
Yeah, you have to respect the game. You have to come to the game with a respect for it, and you have to respect your teammates and your opponent.
Yeah.
You don't have to fear your opponent. But you have
you have to respect your opponents, please.
Right. Anybody can beat anybody on a given day.
Mm-hmm.
If it was all preordained, we could end the season on day one. We just fill in the blanks and say who won and who lost, and we go right to the playoffs. It doesn't work that way.
Yes.
That's the great thing about baseball.
Except the MLB. I feel like the Dodgers.
I've seen names that have popped up here as we've been talking. Mike Powers, for example, is an Alabrandi's guy from way back.
Oh yeah.
Giving him a shout out. Giving Alabrandi's a shout out. They were a powerhouse.
Yep.
For a long time.
Yep.
And Mike Powers is one of the best people in baseball.
He's great. Except when he beats me.
But who had more championships? You guys or them?
He said 18. Powers said
18? And no, they did not have 18.
They had a lot. I told you they had a lot.
18?
Listen, put it this way. We say we had 17. I'm happy with the 17. If somebody else had more than we did, 17 is good for me right now. Maybe we'll come up with the 18th this coming summer.
And technically, that's
a very respectable number.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's great.
It's fantastic.
Not bad for starter.
And technically, you are going
into 3 more years to get another 17.
Ooh.
I would love to see it.
Me too.
But you're technically going into your 30th year because COVID was an off year, right?
Yeah, COVID was we had an in-season tournament, and it was
30th anniversary logo.
That's our logo from 30.
Yep.
Again, this baseball brotherhood that we created in Lexington was not solely created by me. We had great players, great human beings, great leaders, great teammates, just fantastic, committed folks. If you got a couple hours, I'll read off the names on the list.
Rick, you took your glasses off, bro.
Can you put them back on?
No, that's all right.
Yeah, and then we'll have more time. If you put there it is.
There you go.
Hey, yo. There it is.
Yeah. Not bad. My wife picked out the sunglasses for tonight. Don't wear those ugly ones you wear.
Rick,
everybody's got a boss in life,
Hey, you're the best, bro. Don't worry.
I think we can safely say there'll never be another
your world.
Rick DeAngelis.
I told you I was on when I talked to Dan earlier today, and I said I'm really honored and flattered to be able to come on.
We're honored
and talk about amateur baseball. It's something that's near and dear to the hearts of all of us, and all the people that have been tuning in tonight. I remember as a kid looking at the Boston Globe or the Boston Herald or the Record American at box scores from the Park League or the Intercity League. And you see people like Walt Mortimer. I don't know if you guys remember who Walter Mortimer was, one of the greatest hitters ever, anywhere in any amateur league. And if Walter Mortimer is listening tonight, Walter, you were the consummate hitter. And I had the privilege of getting to know him as an adult when we were trying to put together a consolidated schedule among 3 leagues. The two Walters, Walter Benson and Walter Mortimer, 2 wonderful people, along with the people in the Intercity League and any of these other amateur leagues. To spend the time that we all spend is a labor of love. And It's more love than labor. We love doing it because it's baseball. And baseball, if you were to quote James Earl Jones in For Love of the Game, baseball, it's the American game. It's the heart and soul of sports in a lot of places, including Boston.
I have that quote. I have that little audio clip. We don't
Right?
have to play it, but yeah.
I have the movie poster. I have the movie poster for Love of the Game.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
That one.
That's it.
Yeah. Field of Dreams.
It's baseball.
One of my favorite movies.
Absolutely baseball. Is there anything better?
There really isn't. There really isn't.
Tom Brady might disagree with that, but
we can't thank you enough for your time. You're a legend, and we appreciate you being on the show very much. You'll never be another Rick DeAngelis, that is for sure.
God bless you, my brother. You're a legend, and we appreciate you.
Again, you're too kind. Legends don't get created by one person. If in fact I am one of those people, but I will tell you that it's a tribute to all of the people who have come through here and played. They don't just come and stay a year. They play, and they play their hearts out. They play with integrity, and they play the game the way it was meant to be played. We're very fortunate to have had great players throughout the whole 30 years. All of them. Stephen Gath, Tommy Haw, Billy Cook, Sean McElroy.
You can name all of them, I bet.
Danny Graham.
All 1,200.
Can we have a good tournament this year, or a good playoff, All-Star game? Can we do that?
Let's do it.
Give up.
We're
He's
ready.
not going to give up.
We're ready. I'm not going to give up. I gotta. You know what? Even if we get our asses kicked, I got confidence in my guys. We have a lot of studs, so we got to make it happen and have fun.
All right.
Let's have fun.
You got a deal.
Oh, all right.
All right.
We got it on camera.
I know. I'm committed. All right.
Thank you, sir.
my brother.
Have a great night. Good luck.
I've enjoyed it. I'd love to appear again if you want. If you
Sure. You could be a third host if you want.
If you have me, I'll be happy.
During the season, yes, during the season,
That would be fantastic.
I'd love to do it. I love baseball. I love talking baseball. I love the game. I love the players. I love everything about it. I love putting on the uniform. I love the smell of the grass.
We need more Rich DeAngelises in our lives.
Thank you, my brother.
I love being here tonight. Thank you guys
Love
so much.
having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
one.
A safe trip back.
Thank you. Talk soon.
All right. Good night.
Night, guys.
Legend.
Well, good night.
The man is a legend. Good stuff. So tournament. It's crazy to think we're only 2 months away from the
only 2 months away, but
it's crazy.
I feel like I feel like we have to have more in the league games, bro.
I know that's what you want.
Yes, because it'll be fun. You have guys like you have the Park League get the best 12, Yaga League get the best 12. CHBL the best 12 in the city.
It's just planning and having guys like you that really want to make it happen and volunteer their time and
Yeah, well, it's a pipe dream, but we'll see if we make it happen.
Well,
Maybe.
WBC is going to be great. You have players flying in from.
We have players flying in from all over the United States: Florida, Texas, Cali, Georgia. Delaware, New Jersey, awesome. Connecticut, New York.
That's what Memorial Day weekend.
Maine, Memorial Day weekend, 523 to 526. We have 3 divisions. We got 18 plus, 28 plus, and 35 plus. Yeah, so if you want to play, hit me up. Dan used to coach a team, but you don't want to coach a team, or you could play.
Well, I could live stream. I could ump. I could manage. You want me to do it all?
Hey, you can have in that bat while you're doing all of that. But listen, it's going to be the best tournament this year because the competition is gonna be great. We got players from everywhere coming down
That's
here.
awesome. That's awesome.
And that's what I'm proud of. Like, god damn, like we get all these people to come down here to Boston. People hitting me up, hey, what hotel should I stay at? I'm like, what the hotel?
Now
I'm
we
like,
got to
god
pray
damn.
the weather cooperates. That's always
You always fucking do that, bro.
reverse psychology.
We're gonna have good weather, bro.
Love it. Love it.
We're gonna have good weather. It doesn't matter. We're gonna have good weather. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of everybody that's gonna come down. It's gonna be a great tournament. And if you still want to play, there's still opportunities to get involved in these teams. You know, and trust me, this is the best tournament out here. I guarantee you.
It's going to be fun.
Hands down.
Next week, what, Brandon? You got a couple of your boys.
Yeah.
What were their names?
We got from the East Coast Doves.
The new team,
From
right?
the
New team in the BBA?
From the BBA, yeah. They got a good story to tell. I'm excited to talk to them and share their story with everyone. But, you know, we're going to keep plugging away and keep bringing you episodes and bringing you different people on the show from all the leagues all over the Boston.
Speaking of, if anyone wants to be on the show, we got some dates to fill that. I'm talking to you, Mike Powers.
Mike. I would like to talk to Mike Powers.
Yeah, I think he'd be great.
Mike Powers, please get on the show, brother. We gotta talk.
We got March 16th, March 23rd open right now.
And you know what? If Mike Powers wants to get on the show on Sunday that I'm in Florida, I'll do a show.
Wow. Because we're going to have no show March 9th because Omar's in Florida.
March 9th, if Powers wants to be on the show, I'm on there.
What do you say?
Let's go, Powers. Make it happen.
We'll reach out to him.
You reach out to him. Make it happen, brother.
I'll make it happen. All right, buddy.
Hey, so it was a good show.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Thank you.
Sooner than later, we're going to have maybe a little area that we can have our show live and make it little better, you know, but we got to be, it takes time, you know.
That's right.
But if anybody ever wants to be on the show, hit us up. Anybody ever has any ideas, hit us up. Sponsors, you want to sponsor us, hit us up.
That'll be sweet.
And we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys,
Daniel,
for watching. Yes. Peace out. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, guys.